Hey trainers, welcome to the recap for my Mirror Rainbow Cup tournament, which took place just this past weekend. Now I know Rainbow Cup isn't really a popular theme this month for Mirror Cup because it's a relatively recent theme that really hasn't changed much, if at all, since the first time around. But it is still one of my favorites from Season 1 just because the meta is very diverse, probably second only to Mirror Twilight. I just remember the first time practicing for it, there were just so many Pokemon that I could choose from that it was fun, and I didn't lose interest in it for a very long time. And my opponent could also bring so many different Pokemon as well that there are just so many different matchups to test out. So the first time around, I ran a pretty standard meta team, going with Raichu, Venusaur, Charizard, Quagsire, Fortress, and Azumarill, and I went 4-1, losing only to the eventual winner of the tournament. So I'm pretty happy with that. There's no shame losing to the champion. And then for the second time, I wanted to run a more off-meta team, which I like to do after I've done my 10 times weighted tournament for the month. And originally, I saw this idea posted on the Sylph Arena subreddit, and I thought it seemed just like pretty gimmicky at the time. But it wasn't until I actually looked into it myself and practiced with it that I realized that it was actually a pretty legit team. So I ended up deciding to try out an all-water team. And so the core of this team is Quagsire and Mantine because they cover the two things that threaten an all-water team the most, electric and grass. So Quagsire with its ground typing resists electric and hits it back super effectively, while Mantine with its flying typing and its great bulk is able to beat grass with super effective flying type attacks. So if we take a look at my team, you see that I have those two Pokemon and Kingdra, Lapras, Tentacruel, and Poliwrath. Mantine has Wing Attack, Aerial Ace, and Ice Beam. Quagsire has Mudshot, Sludge Bomb, and Earthquake. Right now it's Stone Edge, but for the tournament I had Sludge Bomb. Kingdra has Dragon Breath, Outrage, and Hydro Pump. Lapras has Ice Shard, Ice Beam, and Surf. Tentacruel has Poison Jab, Acid Spray, and Hydro Pump. And last but not least, Legacy Poliwrath with Mudshot, Ice Punch, and Power Punch. So in deciding what to use against my opponent's team, I would look at their team and see if they were carrying the Azumarill and or Fortress, and if they weren't, then Kingdra was a very safe lead because those are the only two Pokemon that resist Dragon Breath in this meta. If they did have a Fortress but no Azumarill, I would consider leading with Poliwrath because Poliwrath would actually beat Fortress in the lead because it resists all of Fortress's moves except for Earthquake. And since Fortress is bulky, Poliwrath is able to get up to 3 Power Punch boosts if my opponent doesn't switch out to different Pokemon. Of course, most people who aren't prepared to face an all-water team will lead with Venusaur, with Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant to burn shields, but Kingdra can win that matchup as long as it does burn both shields, which is okay because you end up coming out of that matchup with a fully charged up Outrage or Hydro Pump to choose from, which will burn your opponent's shield, and even though you'll be down one shield, you'll have switch advantage, which is more important when you're running an all-water team. If I led Poliwrath into Venusaur, I could still come out on top as long as I burn both my shields and my opponent didn't, and most of the time they wouldn't want to because they want to save one for later, but that's okay because, again, switch advantage is more important than shield advantage when you're running an all-water team. So the last two Pokemon that I've talked about are Lapras and Tentacruel. Lapras can beat Venusaur in the lead as long as it shields Frenzy Plant, since Ice Shard does more damage than Vine Whip on its own. I ended up not using Lapras a whole lot just because I was worried about getting walled by Azumarill or Lantern in the lead, which I did run into a couple of times. Lapras can also beat Fortress in the lead as long as it shields Rock Tomb. Since Bug Bite does not do enough damage on its own, it takes a very long time to charge up to Rock Tomb. And on the other hand, Lapras with Ice Shard can fire off Surfs very quickly, and that damage does rack up very fast, even though Fortress is pretty bulky. The first time I ran an all-water team, I actually brought Lantern instead of Tentacruel with Charge Beam, Thunderbolt, and Hydro Pump. And the reason why I had Lantern is because I was afraid that Azumarill would be a problem for my team, so I wanted an electric type to beat that. And I also had Charge Beam just so that it could beat opposing Lantern that were running Water Gun instead. but I ended up not using that at all, so I switched it to Tentacle, which still beats Lantern, but actually even better because Poison Jab is able to do more damage on its own, and it resists Play Rough. It resists all of Azumarill's moves, while Lantern will still take a decent amount of damage from Play Rough. And the other problem with running Lantern is that it gets hard walled by grass types, whereas Tentacle can go toe to toe with Venusaur and Victory Bell, thanks to its poison typing. Although Razor Leaf does still give it some trouble, but against non-poison grass types and potential Razor Leafers like Meganium and especially Bayleaf, those matchups are actually in Tentacle's favor, and those two Pokemon would otherwise be a pretty big threat to this team since they are pretty bulky. So I felt like Tentacle rounded out my team pretty well by covering up this weakness, and I ended up not using Tentacle at all, but I knew against the right opponent with the right team composition, Tentacle could have played a major part, so I know it was important to have. So the first time I brought this team to a tournament, I won it 4-0, and my strategy was to always bring Mantine and Quagsire as long as I saw that they had both electric and grass, because I could be pretty confident that they would bring both into their team of three. And I would lead with either Kingdra or Poliwrath most of the time, and I would do what it takes to win the lead, even if it meant burning both shields. And I'd save Quagsire and Mantine in the back to finish off their Lantern or Venusaur, or Fortress if they led with either Lantern or Venusaur. And those two could also have even matchups against Azumarill and opposing Quagsire if my opponent had one of those in the back. That's actually why I had Sludge Bomb on my Quagsire, just to be able to land a big hit on Azumarill once shields are down, or to just catch my opponent off guard if they're expecting a Stone Edge. So I had a ton of fun running this all-water team the first time around, so I wanted to do it again for Mirror Rainbow Cup, and I know I've talked a lot about my team, so let's finally get into the battles. So in this first battle, we're going up against Julian with an A, and I see that he has a Fortress but no Azumarill, so I feel like he's probably going to lead with Venusaur for this first one since he's not prepared, expecting an all-water team, so I lead with Kingdra, and I have Mantine and Quagsire in the back. And I guess right, he does lead with Venusaur, so I am prepared to burn both shields if I need to, and I'm just going to take him down with just Dragon Breath damage. And he sees that Dragon Breath is taking huge chunks, so he switches out. After he gets some energy, he switches to Lantern. I charge up a little bit, and then switch to Quagsire, which is a great matchup for me. I go straight for the Earthquake. I don't want to... I know there's really no reason to shield bait with Sludge Bomb, and I also don't want to give away that I have Sludge Bomb, just in case I need to land a surprise hit on him later. Here I shield, even though I'm pretty sure it's a Thunderbolt, but I just want to be safe. It is a Thunderbolt, and now I know for sure that I can get to an Earthquake before he's able to get to a Hydro Pump. And he's going to let this one go through because he doesn't want to burn his last shield in what is otherwise a bad matchup. And he comes in with Venusaur. I'm not going to shield here because my Quagsire has already done its job. It's taken out his electric type. So I let that one go through, and I come back in, and I come in with Mantine, which is my Venusaur counter. And he's going to switch out to match me with his Mantine. I'm just going to go straight for the Aerial Ace. It's going to do a little bit of damage, and then I'm going to switch back to Kingdra. I have a Outrage ready to go after one Dragon Breath. It's going to do a lot of damage, so he shields, he burns his last shield. Then now, I decide to let this one, or I think I shield this one. No, let this one go through. I know it's not going to do too much, even though Kingdra is glassy, but Aerial Ace has low base power. And here I see it's going to be really close. I'm just trying to take him down with Dragon Breath only. So I do want to burn the shield here, because I don't want all this energy to go to waste. And here I'm taking kind of a risk, but I am able to take him down with just Dragon Breath with like 1 or 2 HP left. And when his Venusaur comes in, he has no more shields left, so this Outrage is going to take it out. If I had lost that match, it would have been okay because I would have come back in with Mantine. One wing attack would have taken down his Mantine, and my Mantine had enough health to take down his Venusaur and tank a Frenzy Plant if needed. So for our second battle, I'm looking at his team, and I see as a fortress. And since I just led with Kingdra, I'm afraid that he might decide to lead with Fortress for this game. Since again, that is one of the two things that is able to wall Kingdra. The other being Azumarill, which he doesn't have on his team. So I decided to lead with Poliwrath. He does have a Slowbro on his team, which is a threat to my Poliwrath. But there really is no other reason for him to use Slowbro against my team. There's no way I would bring a Tentacruel since there's really no reason to. And Poliwrath is really Slowbro's only positive matchup, so I lead with Poliwrath. And I guess right again, he does lead with Fortress. So this is in my favor since Bug Bite is resisted, Heavy Slam, Rock Tomb are both resisted. He has to go for an Earthquake if he wants to take out my Poliwrath. So I get the first Power Punch boost. And already I have the second Power Punch boost, and he still probably hasn't even had charge enough energy to hit a Heavy Slam. And then I get up to the third one, and he switches out because he doesn't want to burn a shield on that. He wants to save the energy. He switches to Venusaur. I go straight for the Ice Punch, just to either get a shield or burn a lot of deal a lot of damage. I see these Venoms are chugging away, so I'm gonna shield here, and then I'm gonna bounce right after. Actually, no, I go for the Ice Punch again, just to get that second shield, which is fine because that's what I really needed it for. But I do switch to Mantine after getting that second shield, and then now his Venusaur is still locked in, and I will be able to take it out with this Aerial Ace. I don't shield here because there's no reason to. Beyond taking out his Venusaur, Mantine is really not necessary. So since I know I'll be able to do that after taking that Frenzy Plant, there's no need to shield there. I'm able to take out his Venusaur with an Aerial Ace here. And he's going to come back in with Fortress, hit me with a Rock Tomb, and I'm just going to take it because, again, Mantine has done its duty. And after that, I'm going to come back in with Poliwrath. I'm low in health, but these Bug Bites are not going to take me down fast enough, so I hit him with a third Power Punch. That's the 5th charge move overall that I've used with this Poliwrath, and here I'm going to hit a 4th Power Punch. And it's going to do a decent chunk since I have +3 attack now. And right after that, I switch immediately to Quagsire because I don't want him to charge too much energy. Here I shield just in case, but I'm pretty confident it's not Hydro Pump. It's a Thunderbolt, but I just want to be safe. And then I go for the Earthquake to take him out. So that's round 1. Good games to Julian. As you can see, Poliwrath could really become a wrecking ball in the lead against Fortress. And the same is true is if it leads off against Quagsire or even Lantern. If it's a Water Gun Lantern, Poliwrath could actually come out on top with a couple attack boosts as well. So here's round 2. We're going off against Trizip, and you see his team there. He does have a Meganium, which worries me a little bit, but I lead off with Kingdra, and surprisingly, I didn't expect him to lead off with Venomoth, but that's what he leads off with. And I actually have no idea how this matchup plays out, so I'm just going with it. I see that these Dragon Breaths are really chugging away at it. I'm going to shield here because I don't want to take a chance. I know Kingdra's a bit frail. And then he is just barely... Actually, no. I thought he hit a second charge move. I think if he had Poison Fang, he could have, but here I just go straight for the Outrage, expecting Grass or Electric to come in. Meganium or Lantern. And indeed, Meganium, he shields. I will get to second Outrage before he takes me out. I think he's trying to just farm me down with Vine Whip. So he does burn his second shield there. So I'm actually up a shield here. And I also have switch advantage, so I'm in a great position right here. I come in with Mantine. I'm not going to shield here because this Frenzy Plant is going to hurt too much. Both these Pokemon are bulky, so their attack is not that high. This time I do want to shield just to be safe. And then I'm able to hit this Aerial Ace. I knew that one was close. I think he almost had a third Frenzy Plant, but I was just able to beat him. It would have been bad if I didn't. And then here, he surprised me by coming in with Ninetales, since I definitely did not expect fire. So I stayed in at first, and then I realized that it could have Solar Beam, so I definitely don't want him to farm me down, because Solar Beam would one-hit KO Quagsire. So I come in with Quagsire, and I go for the Sludge Bomb. If he had beat me to Solar Beam, that would have been okay, because then he would have wasted all his energy, and then I could have come in with Mantine and finished him off that way. So that's game one. So while you watch me pick my team for our second battle, I'll go over his team a little bit. So again, I see that Fortress is the only thing that walls Kingdra, so I felt pretty safe running that as a lead. I was a little bit worried about Meganium, and I'm lucky that he didn't lead with Meganium, because that actually beats Kingdra even when Kingdra burns both shields. I think he might have been expecting me to think that he would lead with Meganium, and thought that I might lead with a Tentacle, which is why he probably led with Venomoth. But that ended up working out for me anyway. So for the second battle, I'm looking at this team, and I don't want to lead with Kingdra again. So I'm thinking about leading with Lapras, since it's the safest lead to his team. It could beat Meganium by burning both shields. It could beat Fortress. It could beat Kingdra as long as Kingdra doesn't burn both shields. And same with Lantern, it could beat. So I lead with Lapras and he leads with Kingdra. I decided to go just straight for the Ice Beam. I don't really want to risk shield baiting and he doesn't fall for it. So I just go straight for the Ice Beam. And I think he does shield here. And then he actually switches out, because he wants to save his Outrage for later, I guess. He comes in with Fortress, which is okay. I just go straight for the Surf. And then I think I'm able to hit a second Surf. Actually, no, I'm not. I decided to shield here because I just want to either take his Fortress close to Fainted or burn a second shield. And he decides to burn a shield, so now I follow his switch. He's still switch locked. I come in with Mantine. These bug bites aren't doing too much, and I know I could get to his Aerial Ace before he gets to another Rock Tomb. And then he's going to come back in with Kingdra, I believe. No, he's going to come with Lantern. So here, I'm still locked in, which is fine. I'm just going to do a little bit of chip damage. And when it hits Thunderbolt, I'm just going to let it go through. Since he didn't bring Grass this time, Mantine took out his Fortress, so it's basically already done its job. He didn't farm up extra energy on me, which is good, so I come in with Quagsire. And I know I could hit this Earthquake before it hits another charge move. I get a little greedy there, tried to farm up a little extra, but I know this isn't a Hydro Pump, so I let it go through. And then I hit the Earthquake. He doesn't have any more shields. And then he comes back in with Kingdra. I knew this ahead of time. I needed to save the shield for this Outrage, or actually Blizzard. Either way, all of Kingdra's charge moves will hurt. And I go for the Earthquake here, even though Sludge Bomb probably would have been enough. And that's his last Pokemon, so that's round 2. Good games to Trizip. And moving on to round 3, I'm going up against IR Juju, and you see her team there. She has a Bellossom and a Heracross, 2 off-meta picks. Probably trying to throw people off a little bit. I'll talk more about that later. But here I lead off with Kingdra. She leads off with Lantern. I'm thinking if this has Water Gun, that's very good for me. But it has Charge Beam, which would actually beat Kingdra if she's willing to burn both of her shields on the lead. So she switches out to Bellossom. I just go for the Outrage. It's either burn a shield or deal some heavy damage. I stand for a little while, but these Razor Leaves are chunking away, so I switch to Mantine to tank this Leaf Blade. I really don't need a shield here because Mantine is bulky, and as long as I'm able to take down this Bellossom, then Mantine will have done its duty. And since Razor Leaf charges energy very slowly, she's not able to hit a second Leaf Blade before I reach Aerial Ace. She does shield, which was she was able to take me down using just Razor Leaf, but that's okay. So I'm gonna come back in with Kingdra here and just
farming down the Dragon Breath. I am gonna burn the shield here to keep my Kingdra alive. So I'm gonna take down the Bellossom. She comes with Heracross. And I think she has burned. Actually, yeah, both shields are at that point, so Outrage will KO. And then I know she has Lantern in the back, so I immediately switch to my Quagsire. I probably could have soaked up that Thunderbolt with Kingdra, but didn't really matter anyway, since it won't do much damage to Quagsire either. So I go straight for the Earthquake, take out the Lantern, and that's game 1. So I think the Bellossom was probably there to throw people off a little bit, but I knew that it had Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade, just like Victory Bell does. The difference is that Bellossom is a little bit more defensive, and it lacks the poison typing, so it's more susceptible to a Tentacle on my team. But I didn't want to use it because I didn't really feel like there's much need to use Tentacle. I felt comfortable leading with Kingdra since she doesn't have anything that walls Kingdra. And again, so I lead with Kingdra, she leads with Lantern again. At the time, I wasn't really sure how this match would play out, but this time she decides to stay in. I'm gonna shield, and then I'm gonna go for this Outrage to get her to burn a shield. And I think she ends up switching again. Yeah, I'm gonna shield here again. Actually, I think she doesn't switch, but she doesn't shield this. Actually, I'm able to take her down with just Dragon Breaths. So she comes in with Quagsire. I go for the Outrage to burn the shield. Now we're both down shields. And I'm able to hit a second Outrage. She probably was trying to get up to get a little more energy. Might have got a little greedy on her charge move right there, and I'm actually able to take down her Quagsire with just Dragon Breaths. So I'm in a great position. I'm gonna come in with Mantine against this Bellossom. Although at the end it does get a bit close because I know Quagsire absolutely cannot do anything to this Bellossom. But I am able to hit this Aerial Ace. And that's round 3. So good games to IR Juju there. Looking back at the Kingdra versus Lantern lead matchup, it might have come down to Ivy's. Maybe her Lantern didn't have enough HP to survive the last couple of Dragon Breaths, or maybe she overtapped on her charge move. So that was the end of the tournament. I had a lot of fun, but I really wanted to try my team against more people, so we have a bonus round right here. Going up against Mighty Joe, who won our Boulder Mirror Cup a couple weeks back. And you see his team right there. I'm going to lead with Poliwrath, and of course have Mantine and Quagsire in the back, as always, since he does have both Grass and Electric. And he leads with Venusaur. And here I'm just going to go straight for the Ice Punch, hoping that he'll think that I'm shield baiting. But I think he does shield here, which is okay. So at least got him to burn one shield, and I am quicker to my charge moves than he is to his, so I will be able to get another Ice Punch, but he switches as a quick switch to Lantern. He really didn't need to, but that's okay. So I go for the Power Punch here before switching out to Quagsire. I probably could have stored up a little bit of energy on that Poliwrath just to have another charge move ready to go when I come back in, but here I know that he didn't have enough time to get to a Hydro Pump, so I don't shield. And I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb here because I don't really need to go for the Earthquake. I think I was hoping that he would shield that. It's a shield bait. I knew that I would be able to get the second one and KO anyway, even if he didn't fall for the shield bait.
And then here he comes in with his Quagsire. I probably think that I have a Sledge Bomb and Stone Edge. So I go for the Earthquake. He doesn't shield, and he takes a lot of damage from that. And here, I don't need my Quagsire anymore because it's taken out his Lantern, and it's dealt a big chunk to his Quagsire. So I come back in with Poliwrath to save Mantine for his Venusaur. And I'm going to take down... Actually, he's going to shield. He's going to burn his last shield there. I think I'm going to follow the shield. Because I know that I will be able to get to my charge move first. He switches out to Venusaur. But I saw that one as it happened, so I go for the Ice Punch. And with those extra boosts, I am almost able to take down his Venusaur before he gets the Frenzy Plant, but he is just able to get me. But then I come back in with Mantine, and it's at full health, so that's going to be game 1 of this bonus round. Actually, he is able to hit a Stone Edge, but Mantine is pretty bulky, so this will do about half of Mantine's HP, but I will be able to hang on. The aerial ace here really wasn't necessary, but I went for it anyway. So that's game 1. Mighty Joe was telling me that Rainbow Cup is actually one of his worst cup performances, but I know he's still a good battler, so he's still a formidable opponent. You see his team there. He does have a Fortress which could wall Kingdra, but I decided to lead it with it here anyway. And this one is a Water Gun Lantern, which is actually very good for me because these Water Guns are going to be slow to charge to Thunderbolt, and they will deal very little damage on their own because Kingdra does double resist. I decided to let that one go through since these Water Guns are doing next to nothing to my Kingdra. And here I go for the Outrage. He's going to shield. He's going to hit a second Thunderbolt here, which I will shield. So shield here, and then after that I'm just going to farm him down with Dragon Breaths, and I'm going to have both charge moves ready to go on whatever comes in next. But since I am low on health, I decided to just go straight for the Outrage. He comes with Fortress, which is a smart play, but he shields because he was afraid of a Hydro Pump, which I could have gone for, but I really just wanted to get that off right away because I didn't want to die before getting the charge move. So I come in with Mantine here, which was probably the wrong play since I should have come in with Quagsire since he hasn't used his Grass yet, whereas he has already used his Electric, so I should have come with Quagsire there. But his Fortress has Heavy Slam, so it's not going to do too much damage to me. Hit the second Aerial Ace. Missed one there, so he's able to get one more charge move. I shield just in case it was a Rock Tomb, which I really didn't need to. Then here comes in with Venusaur, and I go for the Aerial Ace when shields are down, which was a mistake. I should have gone for the Ice Beam. And because of that, he's able to take me down here, and then I come in with Quagsire after that, and the Mud Shots are going to do very little damage, and he's able to hit Frenzy Plant before I take him down. So misplay by me on my part. Should have come in with Quagsire against Fortress. Should have gone with Ice Beam once shields were down against his Venusaur. So he takes it game 2. And then now on to game 3. I'm going to lead with Poliwrath, just like game 1. And he leads with Quagsire to switch things up. This is actually a good matchup for me since Stone Edge is resisted. I'm able to hit Power Punch. I'm able to hit 2 Power Punches before... Well, not quite, but before he could hit Earthquake. Actually hit a second Power Punch right after he hits Earthquake, so I can get to 3 Power Punches before he gets to 2 Stone Edges, I believe. Yeah, it takes 35 energy for Power Punch, so that's 105 for 3 of them, whereas Stone Edge takes 55 energy, so that's 110 for 2 of them. So here I got the third power punch. She's gonna shield it, and then I'm gonna shield the Stone Edge here just because I wanna preserve my Poliwrath since it is very boosted right now. He's gonna switch out to Venusaur, and I'm just gonna go for the Ice Punch. It's either burn a shield or do a lot of damage. He's gonna shield, and then I'm gonna switch out to Mantine before he's able to get too much energy. And then here, since shields are down, this time I go for the Ice Beam. Even though at this point, Airlace probably would have been enough to KO. He comes back in with Quagsire. He's going to be able to hit this Stone Edge before I get to the Airlace, so I'm going to shield here. And I'm going to take him down with just wing attacks. Actually, I decided to hit the Airlace just to be safe. And this last Pokemon is Fortress. So that's good for me. I'm going to be able to do a little damage here with my Mantine before it goes down. And I switch out to Quagsire. And I know I can hit Earthquake faster than he can, so here he just goes for, I think, the Heavy Slam just because that's actually, oh, he hits the Earthquake, but I'm able to take it. Fortress doesn't get stabbed for Earthquake, whereas Quagsire does, so that's an advantage for me. And yeah, good games there. Well played by Mighty Joe. So if your community is hosting a Rainbow Mirror Cup this month, I hope this video has inspired some of you guys to maybe give an all-water team a try, or at the very least, give some off-meta teams or off-meta picks a try in other cups, because I think it is very fun if you can make it work to just to be different, maybe catch your opponents off guard, and just for the cool factor at the very least. And so if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button for more Pokemon Go PvP content. The subscriptions really do help out, so I appreciate everyone who subscribes, and I hope you guys will join me for the next video.